From Washington, this is VOA News. Kenyan government says army in control of besieged mall. All the hostages are free. And Iran and world powers to hold nuclear talks at UN. I'm Bill Michaels reporting from Washington. Kenyan officials say the army has taken complete control of the besieged Nairobi shopping mall from Islamist terrorists and that all hostages have been freed. Soldiers are still combing the huge Westgate shopping center floor by floor. Al-Shabab extremists from Somalia claim responsibility for taking over the mall during a busy shopping day Saturday. Gunmen walked from store to store, shooting down shoppers. They also opened fire on a group of children in a cooking class and murdered people in the parking lot. At least 62 people were killed, along with 2 gunmen. The Red Cross puts the death toll at 69. Al-Shabab says the attack was in retaliation for Kenya's military intervention in Somalia. It demands all Kenyan forces leave Somalia, a demand the Kenyan government rejects. Follow the latest developments on the shooting in Nairobi at voanews.com. European Union Foreign Policy Chief Catherine Ashton says Iran's foreign minister will join talks on his country's nuclear program this week on the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly. VOA State Department correspondent Scott Stearns reports from the United Nations.
Ashton says Iranian Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif will have a short discussion on Iran's nuclear program with the United States, Russia, Britain, France, China, and Germany. Tehran says its atomic activities are for peaceful civilian purposes. The permanent members of the UN Security Council believe Iran may be working to develop nuclear weapons. Ashton told reporters at the United Nations that she and Zarif had a good and constructive discussion ahead of the opening of the annual General Assembly.
What I saw today was energy and determination to try and move forward in our talks. Many things flow from that.
The election of a new government in Tehran may be an opening for progress on nuclear talks. Ashton says Iranian and European Union teams agreed to meet in Geneva in October. Scott Stearns, VOA News at the United Nations.
Officials in Iraq say 2 bombs have exploded during a funeral in Baghdad, killing at least 15 people. Police say the back-to-back explosions went off inside a funeral tent Monday in the mainly Sunni neighborhood. They say the blast wounded another 30 people. The bombings are the 3rd attack in as many days to target a funeral in Baghdad. An Egyptian court has banned all activities of the Muslim Brotherhood and ordered its assets confiscated, winding a campaign by the military-backed government to debilitate the Islamist movement of deposed President Mohamed Morsi. Monday's ruling comes amid a crackdown on the Brotherhood and more than a month after hundreds of Islamist protesters died in a police operation to disperse their Cairo sit-ins, sparking a wave of nationwide violence. After ex-President Hosni Mubarak was overthrown in 2011, the Brotherhood, outlawed for most of its 85 years in existence, formed a political party that won parliamentary and presidential elections. Protests erupted around Pakistan against a horrific church bombing that left dozens of dead and wounded Sunday, the worst attack against Christians the country has ever seen. Sharon Bain reports from Islamabad. Analysts worry the government is losing control over the country's security.
Shock and anger rippled through the country after a faction of the Pakistani Taliban bombed a Christian church, killing more than 80 worshippers and wounding more than 100 others Sunday in the country's northwest city of Peshawar. Protesters took to the streets, demanding the government do more to protect its minorities. The double suicide bombing occurred less than a week after the Taliban killed one of the army's top commanders, General Sanaullah Khan, and 2 other soldiers with a roadside bomb. a rare attack on the top ranks of military power. Sharon Bain, VOA News, Islamabad.
Syrian President Bashar al-Assad says he has no problem with international chemical weapons experts coming to inspect the sites where Syria makes and stores its chemical weapons.
مبدئيا المفترض لا يوجد أي مشكلة. لكن كما قلت
In an interview with China's state-run CCTV, Mr. Assad said the only challenge is ensuring safe access to those areas, warning that terrorists could pose a security threat. He suggested fighters could obstruct the experts in order to get the government blamed for violating its agreement to allow them in. For more on these stories, visit voanews.com. Reporting from Washington, I'm Bill Michaels, VOA News.